Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lasagna Show. What else can we say? What are we going to say? What are we going to talk about? Oh my God. Same shit over and 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 over. I hope you are celebrating your June swoon wherever you are. With a smile on your face, drinking a beer, and blacking out. I may choose to bang my head into the desk below me until I go to sleep after this live. So we are all just finding ways to cope through the Yankees' sixth straight loss. Not that I've been counting or anything. But, man, where do we start with this one? There is a lot of fuckery to be talked about after that ball game. And, jeez. Oh, man. I mean, you got to start with one-run loss. How did that one-run score? Can anybody let me know? Can anybody tell me? Does anybody know how that one run that was the difference in the game scored? I'm trying to think. Oh, the Gold Glover? The best shortstop in the league, according to Aaron Boone. He's so good, bro. He's so good. Tailor-made double play ball. Tailor-made double play ball. In a moment like that, Tim Hill comes in and gets the perfect tailor-made ground ball, double play ball to the shortstop. And to everyone's surprise, I mean, I was surprised. Are you guys surprised? Maybe we're not so surprised. What do you call that? I mean, that not only does he bobble it, but he still has an opportunity to get out at second base, and he rushes it, and he shovel passes that fucking thing across the infield, and it's not a catchable ball. So, you know, the game-deciding run scores, and then who gets the final out in the game? Who was it bat there? Last at bat of the game. Swinging out of his ass, trying to go yard, waving shit right down the middle. I know Kenley throws a little cut piece there. I know it's got a little bit of movement to it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I can fucking do it. I can't. But I'm not the chosen one from Jersey. I'm not the Italian stallion, Gold Glove shortstop. So you know, you expect the kid from Jersey, Chicken Parm boy, to, you know, make the play at short. Gold Glover, best shortstop in the league. You know, you expect, you know, a little bit more of a competitive at bat there to finish the game. That was not very competitive. A couple balls right down the middle there. He's swinging out of his ass. Just get on base, dude. Split a gap. Punch it the other way. You don't have to fucking hit a 10-run homer when you're only down one. Keep the carousel moving. Get on base. Find a way to get on. Maybe you go first. Maybe Goldschmidt goes first to third. Maybe, you know, good things happen when you put the ball in play. When you are an undersized, skinny, no arm having, you know, career under 700 OPS type of player, you shouldn't be swinging for the fences in a moment like that. And, you know, and he was trying to do that. You know, if you're going to swing for the fences, I pray to God you run into one and he didn't. And he always does that. When he's always trying to get too big, he's always trying to, you know, pull the ball, force pulling the ball. He's always trying to hit for power. When he gets into that zone, he's terrible. It looks terrible, awful. When he's staying short and quick, when he's trusting that inside-out swing, when he's trusting his hands, when he's letting the ball travel, when he flips it the other way, taking the outside pitch, taking what the pitcher gives to him and turning it into something that's going to give him a chance to get on base, to keep the lineup moving, to get the runner on first base, go first or third. Tough, man. 6 straight losses for the Yankees, by the way. The most predictable thing possible. I don't know if it's on FanDuel. I live in a communist country, so I can't even use that fucking app. But they have FanDuel Sports Network here, so God forbid. At least I got half of FanDuel here. Not the fun part. I get the Angel side, so that's fun. And Mike Golick has a show with his kid. I mean, I guess that's better than sports betting, right? If you were going to bet, who's going to have one of the worst Junes you can possibly think of every single season? It could be June, it could be July, it could be August. Bernard says, "Be happy you didn't bet on them to win." I did. Remember my text earlier when you asked if you should bet it, and I said, "What do I always tell my friends?" I always tell my friends, if you value your greenbacks, if you value the hard-earned U.S. currency that you possess, do not bet it on the New York Yankees ever, under any circumstances. And that is a rule that will save you a lot of money and make you think twice before you jump off of the highest point in the city you live in. But this is a predictable June swoon. It happens every year. The summertime fall off from the great start. Everyone always falls for the great start. I think I said back in April, maybe it was in March during spring training, I made like my season expectations list, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. One of the first bullet points was do not fall for the April and May hot start. We do it every year. We get our hopes up. Everyone's got some projection for 120 wins typed up on a fucking graphic somewhere, and everyone's all throwing a party, having a bonfire over it, drinking 20 beers from excitement. And the summertime regression hits like a bitch, man, and we are right in the middle of it. It's I think part of it has to do with the manager. How can it not? The players continue to change. The seasons continue to change. The same shit keeps happening. What happened today? Base running blunder. T-Rant running from first to second. Ball hits him in the fucking foot. Predictable shit. Easy shit to avoid. That is a horrible mistake. You need base runners, especially when the offense is struggling like they are right now. You cannot be a base runner and let the ball hit you on a ball that was trickling. It was a 10 hopper hit his direction. All you got to do is wait back, or you can do your little stutter step and stand in front of the ball and try to fuck up the runner, but you better make sure that fucking ball does not hit you in the foot. Hit him in the foot. Another wasted base runner. Late in the game there, Trent Grisham. I mean, we were gifted that Zephyr John guy. Crazy name, by the way. It's spelled weird. Every time they say it, I'm like, what the? Zephyr John? Jahn? Strange name. Never heard of it before. But, he was wild as hell. I think he walked a guy. Then he hit a batter in the foot. Trent Grisham comes up. I think he was ahead in the count 1-0. Tries to bunt. Fouls it back. It was a good pitch to bunt, too. I think it was a breaking ball. It looked like a slider or a cutter or something like that, and it was right over the middle of the plate. You just got to catch it, man. Catch it with the barrel and that baseball. You don't have to stab at it. You don't have to you don't have to force it. Bunting is not about forcing it. High school coaches will tell you that. You can't stab at it. Let the ball come to you. Catch it like you're holding a lacrosse stick with a net. Pretend the baseball bat as a lacrosse stick with a little fucking net and just catching the ball with the bat. Deaden it. Let that thing trickle down and advance the runner. That's how you bunt. You're taught that from an early age. Fucks up the bunt there. I think the bunt got taken off. I'm not opposed to the bunt there, but when a guy is that wild, I don't know if a bunt is the right move there because he might walk T-Rant. He falls behind early 1-0. Take another pitch. See if he throws a ball and it's 2-0. I mean, I feel like you're kind of bailing him out by putting a bunt on because there's a possibility that, big leaguers, especially on the Yankees, don't bunt very well. So, we call for it sometimes, and in certain situations I understand it, and I'm not opposed to bunting. I think it's very useful in some spots. Don't ask any of the Excel spreadsheet baseball boys about bunting or they'll have an aneurysm. But in spots, I think it works. I think it makes sense. It could have worked there. You find yourself second and third with only one out, and then you give the guy behind him a chance to drive in a run there. But you got a pitcher who's struggling. He's losing it. He's down 1-0, and you bail him out by fouling off a bunt. Now he's 1-1. You're back in the count. So, then the bunt gets taken off. He ends up making an out, and another inning where you're gifted base runners and you can't find a way to move them. Basic stuff. Very, very basic stuff. Fundamental, situational hitting. This team struggles with it. So many opportunities. Again, thank God the 2 hits that they did have in certain moments went over the damn fence. They had 3 hits all game. 2 of them cleared the wall. Thank God those didn't hang up or were popped up or something, because they would have had 3 hits and no runs again. Sometimes you just miss. Other days they go out. But thank God those 2 homers cleared the wall, because this could have very easily been a 3-hit night with no runs again. So, Jazz's barely stays fair. Bellinger got all of his, but man, this team is struggling bad. And you sit here and you don't want to get too into the slump, because obviously I don't think they're this bad. They can't be. They do some things bad. They do some things poorly. Fundamentals, base running, moving runner, situational hitting, runners in scoring position. Sometimes these things are ugly and it makes you feel like you're watching the worst fucking team in the league, but they're not this bad. They've regressed from a hot start. I think they're somewhere in the middle. Before the season, after Garrett Cole got hurt, I said they'd be anywhere from 91 to 94 wins. I feel like they'd be right in the mix for the division, which they are. I think they're on track for maybe more wins than that at this point. But man, if this summer continues like this, shit, might be in more trouble than I expected. So it's not fun to watch right now, man. But what really discourages you during a moment like this, you can't get too down in the dumps and say the season's over, because it's not. It's June. But what you can do, which is the same thing I did last season, is point out some of the glaring weaknesses that this team has. It's the same glaring weaknesses that come back to bite them in the ass in October. You saw it in the World Series. They got away with it in the series previously with Soto and Stanton going off. Stanton's getting older. You can't always rely on him to be there. Soto's gone. You don't have Garrett Cole this year. So what's the move there? Is this a World Series contending team? The American League is weak, but can they beat the Astros like this? Can they beat Detroit like this? Can they beat the Mariners like this? I mean, they have earlier in the season previously, so we've seen it happen. But if they're playing like this and making these same mistakes, the base running, the poor bunting, the poor defense, can't hit with runners in scoring position, can't move runners, you're not going to win anything playing like that. And we see it all too often. So you can't sit here today on June 18th and say the season's over, because it's not. A lot of baseball to go, obviously. It's not a hot take. But what you can do is be concerned about some of the bad things you're seeing, the bad habits, the bad situational hitting, we say it over and over and over again. The same shit we see every year. Eventually maybe one of these coaches will wake up and figure out how to fix this shit. But obviously the current group hasn't figured it out yet, because every year it's the same shit. I don't know what the quick fix is. The years change, the players change, you move guys around, you jumble guys around. You mix in some youth, but one thing stays constant. Aaron Boone is the leader of this team, man. When shit goes bad, it doesn't have to go historically bad. You can have regression without making history for the franchise in terms of mediocrity. I mean, you don't have to be one of the worst offensive groups since like 1910 or some shit like that. They went 30 innings without scoring a damn run. They haven't been beaten like this by the Angels since 1999. That's 25, 26 years ago. You can regress and you can play poorly in stretches without having to be historically bad when it happens. And when shit goes bad for this team, it goes really bad. It snowballs. Shit goes downhill. It just happens constantly, and it's so predictable. And it's the same shit every time. When is it going to end? Do we need regime change? Does the whole front office need to be cooked and sent out and get some fresh blood in here? You're not going to change the core of the team, because there's a lot of guys who aren't going to go anywhere. Coaching staff, manager, the analytics group upstairs, whoever is in charge of getting this team prepared to fix some of the bullshit that is so repetitive, the same issues over and over again. Figure it out. It's the major leagues, man. This isn't college baseball. This isn't high school. This isn't little kids that can't follow directions. I mean, just stuff just at the worst time. That Volpe error was just awful, man. What, did he choke? Is that just who he is? I mean, he's had a case with the bobbles this season. We know he's capable of doing that. Did he get tight as the ball was rolling to him? Was he trying to collect the ball and toss it to second before he even had the ball? Like, what happened there? That cannot happen. You're in the major leagues. That is the shortstop of the New York Yankees. That in that moment in a tight game, when your pitcher comes in and gets a key ground ball, that can't happen. Absolutely cannot happen. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. It's tough, man. And you got Paul Goldschmidt regressing majorly. I mean, he wasn't going to hit 340 the whole season. We knew the regression was going to come, but he is struggling bad right now. You had Ben Rice in there, got his first start behind the plate. Didn't look too bad defensively starting a game. I'll take it. His numbers have dipped quite a bit as well. His 15 to 30 games aren't pretty. I know he's unlucky at times, but in between the unluckiness, a few more knocks and stuff like that would be nice. But he's going to come back down to earth. He was on pace for 1 million home runs in a 5,500 OPS. That wasn't going to be the case the whole season. It wasn't going to happen all season. So you got to be kind of realistic there. But for the whole group to regress all at the same time is crazy. And then you got the bullpen, just gifting the other team runners. Cruz comes in for a second inning. He obviously didn't have his best control today in general. It wasn't his best appearance. It's going to happen. When you got a guy who's a field guy, he does a lot of splitters. Feel on a pitch like that, sometimes it varies from day to day. Sometimes it's a hot day, your finger's a little too sweaty and a little too much moisture on the ball slipping out of your fingers. Sometimes it's really cold and the ball's slick. You don't have a great grip, it slip out of your fingers. Sometimes it just doesn't feel right. It's one of those things where when you have guys who specialize in secondary stuff, slider, changeup, splitter, there's going to be times where that pitch, the feel isn't there for that game. And the more you bring them in, the more you overextend them, the more you try to get 2 innings out of them and try to steal outs, the more you throw them back-to-back days. It's Russian roulette with the off-speed guys. One day they'll have it, one day they don't. It's a coin flip, You hope more often than not they have it, but there's going to be days you understand where something hangs and he gets crushed for a homer. That's what it is. But a good, hard 98 to 100 mile an hour four-seam fastball does not slump. Maybe your location is not, the best at times, but a pitch like that does not slump. 98 plus is always fucking hard to hit, especially when it's got good spin, got good carry through the strike zone. You can put it up in the strike zone with 2 strikes. Look at my finger right now. That shit's bent all crazy. I'm so down to the dumps, I don't even give a fuck, but maybe my fucking springer's spring out, whatever. But, I want to see some velocity coming out of that bullpen, man. I want to see some cheddar. I want to see some high octane, fuck you fastballs up in the strike zone with 2 strikes. I need swing and miss. Biggest need at the deadline is 2 pitchers who throw hard. Find them. Trade for them. Give up, mid-level prospects if you have to. It depends on if the player you're trying to acquire has years of control, obviously. It depends on what other teams are asking. It depends on what other teams are willing to offer. It could bring up the price for you. It's not easy. It's not easy. But Brian Cashman's got to grab his nuts as my real biological father and go out there and get 2 power arms. Go find them. Go give up shit for them. If the Rockies say no to everybody, I want you to fly to Colorado and bang on that fucking door until they say yes. And, sometimes it's that easy. I'm just kidding. But, go find them. Go dig into those rosters on teams that are struggling right now. Find the guys that Matt Blake can take on with a high octane arsenal. Give me the heater. Give me the good hard slider to go with it. Slider's not an easy pitch to hit when you're facing a dude with a good fastball, because for a while there, if you tunnel it right, the slider looks like a fastball out of the hand. Then you see the red dot, and it's gone by then. You wait, swing and a miss. Good hard fastball, good hard slider guy. I need it. I need it badly. Brian Cashman. If someone's watching this that has access to him, bang the phones. I don't talk to my real biological father anymore. The day he left to get warm milky for the clubhouse, and he never came back. So very unfortunate circumstance there. Don't feel bad for me. Do not feel bad for me. The Cashman daughter got the job with Yes Network. All right. I'm sitting here on Twitter and YouTube talking to you guys. So obviously I'm not the favorite child, but I will prevail. I will figure it out. But that starting pitcher for the Angels today was pretty nasty. Got to say, Jack Kochanowicz. I probably butchered the hell out of that. Kochanowicz. I don't know how to say that. It's crazy. He's got every letter in the alphabet in his name, so it's kind of hard to read. But he was 48% sinker. He was pounding that thing down in the strike zone, and that thing was up to 100 miles per hour. Crazy. The fact that this offense struggling the way it did, hit 2 homers, that's pretty crazy to me. I mean, his stuff was good. You would think some of those homers would come on mistakes from Kyle Hendricks, not a guy throwing 100-mile-an-hour bowling balls, but it's not an excuse, because the Yankees still got into the bullpen, into the 6th inning. From the 6th through 9th, you had plenty of opportunities against their bullpen. So you can't just say, the offense is struggling. Face a guy who was throwing hard. It is what it is. Chalk it up as a loss. No, because there was opportunities that were failed opportunities from the bullpen on. There was chances to manufacture runs. There was chances to move guys over. There was chances to take a lead, score runs, and they didn't do it. No excuses. But the guy who started the game was nasty. 48% sinker up to 100, 23% changeup. So he was going sinker change. You can tunnel them off of each other. The sinker movement's not going to be as much as the change, but similar dive down and away from a lefty, down and into a right-hander. That's a good 2-pitch mix to tunnel off of. 18% four-seam fastball. It was up to 99, which is crazy. Got through hard, man. ERA was up 5 for the season. So you knew coming into the game, guy we've never seen, ERA over 5, he was going to have a decent game, and that's what he did. 5 in the 3rd innings pitch. Only gave up 2 hits. Both were homers. So bad luck for him. Jazz kept one fair somehow. Cody Bellinger smashed one, but he limited the damage. He did have 3 walks. He was a little wild, but he had 8 strikeouts, which was good for him. So he did his thing. 12 swing and misses. The guy came in here, Yankee Stadium, ERA over 5, and he did his thing. He took care of business. It is what it is. He did good. Yarbrough, not too bad. 35% cutter, averaged about 83 miles an hour. So he's an off-speed guy. We know that. He's going to have to locate. He's going to have to live on the corners. He's going to have to keep the ball down. You got to stay out of the middle of the plate. Got to stay away from barrels. And I think he did a pretty good job of doing that today. 23% changeup, 16% fastball, average about 88 to 89. So he's a left-handed version of Kyle Hendricks from yesterday. 13% sinker and sweeper. So pretty even distribution there after the cutter. He keeps you guessing. He's going to throw the change. He's going to throw the cut piece. He's going to sink it. Sometimes you try to sneak a 4-seamer in there. It doesn't move. So, he's a crafty lefty, dead fish lefty. He did his job today. 5 in the 3rd innings pitched, 5 hits, only 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. He did get 5 swings and misses, which isn't a lot, but he did his thing, That's all you ask for. Give me 5 or 6 innings, allow 3 runs or less, give the offense a chance. Man, but when this offense is struggling, 2 or 3 runs feels like 20 runs. So not very nice there. Going back to that 9th inning, we were gifted another base runner. Paul Goldschmidt hits a ground ball to third base. Rengifo throws the ball high. And Goldie, as a savvy veteran that he is, with his power forearms, he slid under a high throw, which is, high IQ there, for a guy who's struggling a little bit at the plate. For him to still have the wherewithal to do those little things to help the team, that's commendable. That's awesome right there. So, saw the throw was high, understood that it was going to be a catch, then tagged from the first baseman. He slides under it. Very savvy, big brain, high IQ play there. So, gifted another run. And they just can't find a way. Judge hit a ball that, the crowd thought it was gone, but on TV you knew it was out. So he continues to struggle. Bellinger there Volpe at the end. So, Kenley Jansen is a guy in the past who's had blow-ups. He's an older guy now. He's not throwing as hard as he used to. So, anytime Kenley comes in, you can get Aaron Judge up to the plate, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, the chosen one from Jersey, the golden child, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, chicken parm guy, that guy, came up there, swing and miss a bunch of times, and that was a game. So very, very winnable ball game. Very many chances. Just fucking shit up again. Tough to watch, man. Let's see. Runners in scoring position. The Yankees were 0 for 3 today and had 5 left on base. Anthony Volpe was caught stealing as well. I think I saw something on Twitter. He's like 18 for 25 or something like that. So a guy that was hyped up as in the minors as a 40, 50 stolen base guy, he's getting thrown out a lot. So I don't know if it's the jumps. I know he does the couple hops there and takes off. I don't know what it could be, but he's getting thrown out quite a bit for a guy who was supposed to be a very high productive stolen base guy. But yeah, man, that's tough. 8 for 14 from Joan. Okay, so not as bad as I thought, but still, he's getting thrown out almost half the time. So it's not ideal from a guy you would assume was a burner. Let me get through some of these comments really quick. My apologies for not reading some of them as they're coming in. We're having a therapy session today, all right? 6th straight loss. We're all pissed off. We're all down in the dumps. I don't know if you saw on Twitter this morning, I had Jack Daniels with my Cocoa Puffs. So took the edge off a little bit, 7 hours before game time. And we are still down in the dumps and grieving this putrid loss. Where's the bottom right now? Where's the bottom for this team? How bad is it going to get? This is as bad as it gets. How long will this continue? Is there any way they can, find a way to break through here? I don't know. No idea. Let's see. Nico Demo says it's the hop step. Pitchers and catchers are timing Volpe better. I agree, man. I know it. That little hop, sometimes it could be harder to tell when he's going. I don't know. They're starting to figure some things out. His jumps aren't that great. Maybe he's caught mid hop before he runs and he's not getting the best jump possible. I don't know. There could be a lot of different reasons why. But bottom line is he's not the 40, 50 stolen base guy that we envision him being. And part of that's because he's not getting on base as much. So looking at his numbers really quick, he is free falling again. And this is what got me in trouble on Twitter for talking Volpe was, I understand that March and April and May are usually pretty good. But middle of the season, I don't know if he gets tired. I don't know if the league adjusts to him. I don't know what happens, but he falls off. Not that long ago, his OPS was 780, 770. He was hovering around 770 for a while there. He's down to 726. That's a 50-point plunge in the OPS and not that much time. It hasn't been that much time since he was 770. So that is a free fall, and it is the exact same time it usually always happens. June through August, sometimes, September's rough too. He's 20 points away from 26 points away on the OPS from where I want him to finish the season. I don't know how much deeper this slide goes for him offensively, but, his average is 235, and through almost 1,500 at bats in his career, he's about a 230 hitter. So he's not too far off of the batting average already. OPS for the career so far, 673. He's not too far off that either. I think a great finish for him would be anything over 700 OPS wise. That would be almost a 30-point increase from his OPS last season. It's not 750, it's not 800, but it's improvement. We have seen some improvement this year, but if this slide continues, he's going to end up right back around 670-ish. Depending on if it lasts a couple weeks, a couple months, through July, August, September, we don't know. This is the third year of Volpe. This is the year we expect to see him break through. I expect to see him break through. It looked like he broke through for the last couple months. you were hoping that summertime fall off didn't come. And it's here again. 50-point fall off on the OPS in what, a couple weeks? So it's unfortunate, man. And then while you're not contributing with the bat, you have to at least be contributing with the glove. And today was an awful blunder. We got Lady Red Sox in here, man. Oh man, those Red Sox are getting uncomfortably close, I must say. Let me check on this guy. Let me check. What's today? Wednesday? Who the hell cares? I'm losing track of the days here. Red Sox win. The Red Sox are victorious once again, and they are 4.5 back after trading Rafi Devers. You think that 3-game sweep recently isn't looming large right now? Tampa Bay Rays, 1.5 back. Toronto Blue Jays, 2 games back. There are 3 teams within 4.5 of the Yankees after the shittiest division in baseball to start the season. Looked like a cakewalk early. Not a lot of cake going on right now other than Devers getting shipped out of town, and they're still winning baseball games. Lady Red Sox reminds me that they're 9-2 in their last 11, but who's counting? The ones against the Yankees don't count, so I'm going to need that record in the last 11 adjusted. The Yankee wins don't count. So I'm going to need you to fix that, please. But yeah, shit is not going well, man. Bad time to lose 6 straight while everyone else is figuring their shit out. Bad timing. But if you've been watching this team long enough, if you are a follower of the Boone Doctrine, this was predictable. This was coming. It's coming. Let's see. Lady Red Sox says, did the Red Sox break the Yankees? The streets are saying, the streets might agree that the Red Sox broke the Yankees. It's one of those things. I think the Dodgers might have broke the Yankees, if we're being honest. And then they lose a series to the Red Sox. They beat the Guardians in the middle of all that bullshit. They always beat the Guardians. Outside of Detroit, they always own the AL Central. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. You lost a series of the Dodgers. You lost 2 series of the Red Sox, including a sweep, and you just lost 3 out of 4 to the fucking Angels at home. I think after that Dodgers series, it feels like a slide. Oh, I'm sorry, Kansas City, the big Kansas City. Ooh, scary there. Another AL Central team outside of Detroit. I'm not going to give you credit for that shit. I'm sorry. I'm just not. You lost 3 rivalry series, and in between that, you beat up on the same AL Central cream puffs that you always beat up on. Tip of the cap. You did what you were supposed to. Now you're supposed to beat the Angels. You just lost 3. Get another chance tomorrow. You got to figure it out. Division is looking ugly. You got Rodon on the hill tomorrow. Hopefully he does his thing, doesn't give up many runs. You got Tyler Anderson on the hill, another dead fish lefty type. Gonna have to weigh back. Gonna have to let the ball travel. Gonna have to take the singles the other way when you can get them. Can't be trying to pull everything, especially off speed when you're out front. You're gonna pop it up. We're gonna roll over. This could be another challenge for the Yankees. Another soft throwing guy. Got a good changeup. He's got some experience. He's a vet. So. And in my fraudulent time zone, that is a 10:05 a.m. Pacific time start. Should I have beer for breakfast? What should I do to get mentally prepared for that early in the morning? It's not that early. It's a couple hours from afternoon, but still, 10 a.m. baseball game on a Thursday? A little crazy there. Then the Yankees will they will stay home and play Baltimore. So Baltimore, another team that's not great. Neither are the Angels, and everyone seems to be giving the Yankees trouble right now. So that is not ideal. Clark is king, says, might I interest you in an Oswald Peraza for Aroldis Chapman? Lady Red Sox, any thoughts? I'll take it. I need a flamethrower. Yeah, maybe you guys can use a glove guy. I heard your third baseman or DH is missing. Could use an Oswald Peraza. I think he fills in. I think Peraza fills in for Devers very well, actually. Bernard is not a fan of Aroldis Chapman. He's throwing 102 on the Red Sox right now. He'll come to the Yankees in his first game. He'll throw 94. It's coming. It would happen. It's just what happens. I don't know what it is. No, what is Matt Blake doing to these guys behind the scenes? He's a good pitching coach, great transformations, but I need the cheddar, man. I need the flame throwing potential from some of these guys. No more JT Brewbakers, all right? I know he's another guy that's going to come in and lock some innings, whatever. Not expecting much. He's not a flamethrower. It's somewhat of a project for Blake. He's missed some time. He's not a difference maker. But I'm tired of these guys. Get me some high octane shit, man. Give something up to fix this damn bullpen because this bullpen's not good enough. Not good enough. Especially against good teams, against good hitters. In the series, these hitters are going to see the breaking stuff often. They're going to see a lot of splitters from Cruz. They're going to see a lot of splitters from Leiter Jr. They're going to see a lot of changeups from Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. These guys will get overexposed because Boone loves to go on them over and over and over and over again and steal outs and, pull pitchers prematurely sometimes or leave them in, whatever the situation is, go multiple relievers in one inning. The off-speed stuff will get overexposed in the short series. We kind of saw that against the Dodgers. Luke Weaver wasn't, the dominant guy that we expected. Even though I think he had a 0 ERA in the World Series, but he came in with runners on base sometimes, and he did give up sac flies. He did give up, meaningful contact in big moments in the games where the Yankees could not get swing and miss. We need swing and miss. Go find the 98 to 100-mile-an-hour flamethrower with the hard slider and put him in that damn bullpen and throw him until his arm falls off for the last, 2.5 months? Go find them. They're out there. Make the deal, Cashman. Go do it, Cash Daddy. For those of you who are still here listening as we grieve the Yankees' 6th straight loss, please go to my Twitter account, click the blue link in my bio, follow the Lasagna Show on YouTube. It's a good time, We're all sitting here having some fun. As much fun as we can possibly have after another depressing loss. But subscribe to the Lasagna Show. Leave a comment. Like this video. Smash that like button if you haven't already, and I will greatly appreciate it. We have a good mix of people right now that are watching on YouTube, watching on Twitter. There's going to be some times where I can't live stream both at the same time. Right now, we're doing it. Sometimes I will not be able to live stream on Twitter. So if you want to catch some live streams, if you want to catch some of the other shows that you might not see on Twitter, subscribe to the Lasagna Show. Click the link in my Twitter bio. Hit the sub button and like this video. Clark is King says we should be getting Weaver next week or 2 weeks. I think that would help a lot. I think he's probably 2 or 3 weeks out. He's going to have to ramp up the throwing program. He's going to have to throw a few bullpens. He's going to have to face live batters on the side, probably maybe a little bit of rehab assignments. So I think 2 to 3 weeks would be a realistic expectation for Luke Weaver. But even then, we saw in the playoffs last year, a big Christmas crusher homer off of him. There were some key moments in the World Series where he did show that he was human and give up some, key sac flies. We couldn't get the swing and miss when we needed it. Dodgers manufactured runs, and it proved to be the difference in a close game. So I need to supplement a Luke Weaver and a Devin Williams, both changeup guys with a hard-throwing power right-hander or left-hander. Go find them. They're out there. Do some digging, Brian Cashman. Do what you got to do and improve this damn bullpen ASAP. Head Huncho Gonzo says, but why? We get guys from the dumpster. We do. And, it's a luxury to have a guy like Matt Blake who can, take these guys who are struggling or take these guys who are, somewhat unknown that have good stuff and turn them into good players, good relievers. But this bullpen lacks the 98 to a hundo flamethrower. We don't have it. Every other team seems to have it. We don't. Why is that? I don't know. It was a problem. It was a problem for us in last postseason. The lack of readily available power, swing, and miss stuff in our bullpen. The Dodgers had it. We didn't. Other teams have it. We don't. It needs to be prioritized. Go find it. Go make a deal for it. Give up the necessary prospects to get it. If it's a player under control and you need to give up someone a little bit better than you would like to, if it makes you a little bit uncomfortable, maybe that's what you need to be doing right now. Because, what's the continuing narrative throughout the whole season? The American League is not as good. Okay. You still have one of the best, records in the American League right now. You're still projected to be at least in the ALCS. So go find the pieces that can get you back to the World Series and give you a chance to win it this time. There's a chance the Dodgers might not be there if you get to the World Series. You might have a much better chance. So make the necessary moves in July, Brian Cashman. Next month, do it. Please, real biological father, make the moves. Get the players we need, damn it. I think that's a bigger need than a starting pitcher, than a middle infielder, than a backup bench, whatever. Those two key bullpen pieces need to be acquired, especially because this current group, one, is not good enough. Two, is going to be burnt out if they're not already. So figure it out. All right, so we got an early game tomorrow. We do have Anderson versus Rodon, battle of the lefties. Yankees look to avoid their 7th straight loss. 7 straight losses. And a 4th straight loss to the Angels. That would be not ideal. I think the Angels broadcast was saying the Angels have never won 4 straight in the Bronx before. So, like I said earlier, there is expected regression when you start out as hot as this team did. It's not a surprise, but it doesn't have to be historically bad every year with the offense. You can still manufacture runs, do the little things right, run the bases properly, emphasize the fundamentals, and play winning baseball even when you're not playing your best version of baseball. So, avoid the 4-game sweep tomorrow. Avoid the 7th straight loss. Come on, man. Everyone is right on your ass in the division now. This is not a cakewalk anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Not a cakewalk. It's one of those things where we don't know what this team is right now. Hot start, really bad right now. Typical June swoon. I think they're somewhere in the middle. And if they're somewhere in the middle, then they're still very beatable, and this division is still up in the air. So handle business. Beat Tyler Anderson tomorrow somehow, some way. Manufacture runs. Do the little things right for once. Please, just one time. Make us happy tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, so it'll be the last show of the week before we come back on Monday. So send us off with a little bit of happiness, please. I'm begging. Some of you will probably at work and shit, but we will be on here on the post game tomorrow. So make sure you tune in if you can. But this is a 6 straight loss. Not looking good. 3 straight to the Angels. Not ideal at home. A lot of mistakes, man. A lot of mistakes. Mistakes are preventable and they're fixable. There's still good players on this team. I think they'll snap out of it eventually, but right now it is ugly, very ugly. So I hope they did not ruin the rest of your night as much as it did some others. I'm still down in the dumps, but I'm going to go figure out some shit to do before bed. Probably get a pump in. Go hit the gym. Stay in shape, ladies and gentlemen. Healthy. Let some frustration out from the Yankees on the dumbbells and the machines. Always a good plan there. Good habits to have. But have a great rest of your night, guys. We will see you tomorrow for the last show of the week. If you have not subscribed to the Lasagna Show, what are you waiting for? Get on there and do it, please. You will be my favorite forever and ever and ever, I promise. A little bit of Volpe slander today. I said I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't say it's slander. I think we're just talking facts here, ladies and gentlemen. So don't be tweeting at me saying, oh, you went to get your word. Oh, you're a fraud. We're just talking baseball here, right? I'm not saying the guy's the worst player in the league. I think he can still have a successful season. That's an improvement from last year. So hopefully he snaps out of this, predictable summertime slide and, figures out a way to finish the year well and have some success in the postseason. But that is it for me tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow. For those of you who can tune in, hopefully the Yankees will win and put us out of our misery. Try not to drink yourself to sleep or bang your head into the desk until you go to sleep like I might. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your evening. Go Yankees, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.